And now that we've all filled ourselves on Subway sandwiches, cookies and crisps, I invite you to put your feet up around a table, try and stay awake. It'll be hard to go to sleep in the next 20 minutes, actually, because our short stories will give you 100,000 ideas for you to try. They will talk about things that they're doing, which will hopefully inspire you to think of, we could do something like that in our neck of the woods. So that's the idea of these short stories. So if you're about ready, we'll introduce, we have 4 short stories for you this afternoon. And the rules of the game is those who are coming, who've been specially invited to share their stories, have only 4 minutes to do so. If they get to the end of their 4 minutes, they will be ushered off with some Oscar-style music, cue step. And I'd just like to thank my mum and my dad, so they will be rudely interrupted at 4 minutes, and a big hook will come on, but we will encourage you to finish very quickly. So, without further ado, our first short story of the afternoon. Are you ready? Let me introduce to you Joy French, who our second Joy French of the day. There have been 2 people called Joy French here today, which has never happened before. And Joy has 4 minutes exactly, and she's even put her own timer on, I can see, to tell us about family works. Are you ready? But your microphone isn't on, so if we turn it on, that would help me. And your time starts.
Okay, hello, really lovely to be with you today. I want to tell you about our family support project called The Family Works. The Family Works is a long-term, trauma-informed family support programme working for transformational change with families who experience challenges. We've come out of St John's Church, Oldington. We will be becoming a charity, thank you for that, later on in the year. And we work with families. Imagine the situation that you are at a toddler group and you sit down with a parent at the toddler group and they say to you, actually life is really hard, I'm facing depression, I've got loads and loads of debt, my relationship with my partner isn't brilliant, I'm really struggling with the kids and I don't know where to turn for help. You might give them your phone number and in 6 weeks' time you find they're texting you at midnight in tears and you don't know what to do. We recognise that churches needed to find a way to support families that was safe, that was sustainable and that was replicable. And that's how The Family Works was born. So what we do with our families, we work with them for up to a year. We're really committed to understanding that every family has a unique story and that it is absolutely understandable and normal for things to get complex and for a family to need a bit of additional help. So, we work alongside a family to support them to be able to implement and sustain long-term change. How do we do it, I hear you ask? Well, we provide a family mentor, that's a volunteer from a local church who we train and support to go out and visit the family for up to an hour a week. They get supervision immediately after and loads of support and training. And our family mentors are the most incredible team. When a family mentor is appointed to work with a family, we also provide them with a link worker. And a link worker is a paid member of staff that does exactly what it says on the tin. The link worker works with the family to support every single part of what might be happening for that family. So if other agencies are involved, if there are meetings in school, if there are letters that need to be written to councils or any other professional or provider, the link worker holds that together. And the thing that is absolutely vital to us, because we are really working to be entirely trauma-informed in everything that we do, is that the family's unique story is held and known and thought about. So we create a space where the details of that family's life are going to be reflected upon. Everything is kept entirely confidential, but we are really working with our families to start with to implement over the long term transformation that can be sustained. And we do that with a teaching model. We have a theory of change. It's all available on our website. But we work with families to help them to take the change on for themselves. How can you support this? I hear you ask with 30 seconds to go. Well, there are a few things you can do. You can become a family mentor. We're always looking for new family mentors, and we'd love to talk to you about that. You can pray for the project. You can advocate for the project. You can give to the project if you'd really like to. And you can also consider, if you have families who you think would meet our criteria, please talk to us, because we would love to walk with you and help them where we can. Thank you very much for listening.
She had 10 seconds to spare. That's just their standard now, isn't it? So thank you, Joe. We've got Becki Howe now, and you've got your 4 minutes. Thank you.
Hello everyone. 17 years and 15 years ago, I was blessed with 2 beautiful boys who we later found out were autistic. Our boys have brought us great joy and we're incredibly proud of them. However, it wasn't the parenting journey that I planned on. It wasn't the parenting journey I dreamed of. It's been a very different journey from those of our friends and our families, and it's been tough and challenging, and at times it's been lonely and isolating. When the boys were very young, I found getting to playgroups incredibly challenging. It was often impossible to get to know other mums whilst meeting the needs of my children. As the boys got older, I had time to reflect and think how good it would have been to have a playgroup community that we could have accessed. This thought grew, and the seed that God had planted in me started to grow and grow and grow and become more of a vision. A vision of building community for those parents with children with additional needs and disabilities. A community for parents who perhaps felt on the outside. A community for parents who really struggle to access mainstream playgroups. A community for those who had arrived in Holland and not Italy. If you know, you know. And if not, please do look up the wonderful poem Welcome to Holland by Emily Hill Kingston. At the same time, one of my church leaders, who also has a child with additional needs, saw the need for SEND playgroups. And whilst we were praying about how to set this up, completely out of the blue, we were contacted by a physio at Reigate, who asked if we would be able to facilitate a playgroup for a group of parents she'd been working with. Our prayers began to be answered. So for the last 14 months, we've been running a monthly playgroup for children under 5 who have additional needs and disabilities and their families. Our aims are simple: to provide families with an opportunity to meet other parents in a similar boat. Our space to be suitable for children who may find large and busy situations overwhelmingly. And most importantly, to be a place where parents feel their children are valued, seen and loved as equals. We want our group to be a place of acceptance and a place where Jesus is at the heart of everything we do. Hasn't all been plain sailing, but the community continues to grow. Parents are reaching out to support each other, children are showing signs that they feel comfortable, and families are relaxing and enjoying the sessions. I'd love to tell you about one mum. She's been with us right from the very start, and when she arrived, the hood on her pram was all the way over, hiding the baby. She was jittery, she wasn't confident, and slowly over time we learned that since her child had been born, other than for hospital appointments, she hadn't left the house. She didn't feel confident, she felt people were going to stare, and she didn't think she had anything in common with other mums. Over the last year, we've seen her confidence grow. We've gently encouraged her and delighted in her child, just as he is. And now she's started swimming lessons, she's visited other playgroups, and she even had a second birthday party for him. The group gave her son and her acceptance. We hope we played a part in helping her to see her child as God does, to know that he's fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, perfect just as he is. A child with purpose, a future and hope. We'd love to see more groups like this across the city, offering something that many take for granted. A playgroup, also a safe space where all are welcome, seen, heard and valued. We haven't got loads of specialist equipment, we haven't found we needed it. Just a room, some coffee and the usual playgroup equipment. If you have a heart for this, and for those on the edges of society, for those on a different parenting journey, I'd really encourage you to start praying about setting up a group like us. And please do get in touch with me at the office at St Thomas Crooks if I can help.
Can't play the music, we'll play it again. So now we're going to invite Josh up from the PAIS team and go for the next start.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Just for out of interest, before I dive in, who in here does any form of schools work? So if you just put your hands up. Well, I am preaching to the choir. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what we've been doing in Birmingham and some of the impact of what God's been doing. So my name's Josh, I'm 20, and I'm a member of the PAIS East Lancashire team up in Birmingham. And the first thing that I wanted to share about was this great opportunity for integration that we found in school. So this person here, just from the middle person just to the right, is called Daisy. So we met Daisy in a school last year, and we invited her to church, and she came along. And then she didn't just come along, she started serving. She started serving in church, she started serving on the cafe. Then she's joining us on local mission, which is our next photo. So Daisy's there in the middle there, and she came along and she served with us on local mission. So we're seeing from our schools ministry that we're not just sharing Jesus in schools, we're seeing young people getting integrated into church. And I've got so many other stories of people like Daisy. And I think it's really, really encouraging that schools want us in. We have been into about 15 schools in the last year and a half, which is just incredible, speaking to nearly 5,000 young people. And our average amount of people we talk to is 250 young people, speaking a message of truth and Jesus to them, which is absolutely incredible. The second thing I really wanted to highlight is we have this incredible opportunity to engage with young people in schools in a new way. So our next photo is from something that we did a few weeks ago. So we went into a school and they were doing this thing called a spirituality day, where they take the whole day just to think about Jesus in a local church of England school. And we decided we're going to do Jeremiah 29:11, an escape room. And this is what happened. So could we go back to the other one? Is that right? So this is the Bible. Can you believe that? He's holding the Bible and he looks that interested. Now, the most radical thing about this story is, guess what year he's in? Year 11. Anyone who's done schools work knows that that is next to a miracle. And this is what's been brilliant about schools work recently. Since COVID, we found that schools really want us to engage with them. And if we engage in a new and creative way, and we do things like escape rooms, which are all about Bible study, they dive into the Bible. One of them picked up and said, "How does it work?" I was like, okay, cool, you've gone to a Church of England school for all that time, you don't know how it works. But it was brilliant to see them tearing open these Bibles. And they knew that they needed that. And the final thing I really want to land on is we speak to 250 people, which is incredible a week. And each conversation we have is a chance to share the light of Jesus into those difficult circumstances. In 2 of our schools this week, they've had really challenging circumstances. And I can't share what it is, but we're youth workers, we can imagine what they are. But we have this incredible opportunity that when we decide to serve our local schools, we can speak life into young people's lives. And I would like to finish by just sharing Hope's story. We met Hope in a school last year, and she kept coming up to us and saying, "I want to do this job." Now, I'm not going to say what the job is, but the job was not Christian. No one would wish that for a child, that is the job that they're aspiring to. And we simply replied, "You are worth so much more than that." A simple biblical truth. We went back in this year, and we went in about November. It's been about 5 months, and she came up to us and said, guys, I don't want to do that job anymore. I want to study criminology." And I was like, wow. I didn't think you'd know that word, to be honest, but wow, you want to study criminology. That is incredible. And we said to her, "You're worth so much more than that." So I asked her, "Do you remember what we said to you?" She said, "You said I'm worth so much more than that." She remembered it after 5 months. God is working in our schools. He is good. Let's make the most of it.
That's made my day. Somebody's got the music. Thank you. But great story. It's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Our final story, we did have the amazing Ed Cox, if you know Ed from Sheffield, come to talk to us about a community food bank. Unfortunately, he had to go into hospital for some checkups today. You probably didn't want me to tell you that. For our final story, the wonderful Tim Abbott has jumped in and said, hey look, I've got a 4-minute, 28-second video that could be shown because it tells the story of prayer spaces in schools. So would we allow them the extra 28 seconds to... No? You say no? This is a church. It's supposed to be kind. So for our final session, Tim, from his chair, is going to deliver our final short story.
Walking into this space is like all of the stress that's been gradually building up with school. It's like it's all slowly melting away.
It was just really nice to connect with someone knowing they couldn't judge you. I felt like I was connecting with God.
It's completely personal, it's anonymous, they feel safe, and I think that as a space that's really important.
It's a calm place where people can relax and pray to God in their own different ways.
Being in the prayer space is very relaxing and calm, and it feels like it's a way you can talk to God without having to do something that doesn't feel quite right to you.
When they've been engaged in these activities, there is quite a profound calm around them, so the impact is tangible.
It helped me forget stuff and just forgive others, really.
If they were having like a hard time, they could just come here and pray for a little bit and they'll be more relaxed and a bit less stressed as well.
I think having the prayer space is just so special because it shows children that there isn't just one way to pray, it's not one set prayer and response, it's that actually you can pray, you can be with God in very different ways.
The prayer space makes me feel that I have a connection with God and that I can pray.
I don't know that I've had any child who hasn't responded positively in a prayer space.
You can just like get closer to God in there, and if you're not Christian, then you can still enjoy and think about life.
We had a boy in year 8 who is really turned off from RE, really apathetic, and he went into the tent and he came out and he was like, whoa, that was deep. And I had a little chat with him about it. He went off, did another activity, and then he just kept kind of coming back and wanting to speak to me about how that particular activity had affected him. And that's like the most engagement I've got out of him ever in RE, and it was just absolutely amazing to see someone who was really switched off from the subject just take that whole personal experience on board. It's absolutely amazing.
You should just have that one-on-one time with God.
There's a hurly-burly of the school year, any day in a school, and I think one of the things the space does is give you permission to just press pause.
People who I know aren't Christian, who don't have any connection to faith, but who I know struggle with like their mental health, will come into this space and still feel the benefits of it.
I think we should have more of these things in schools.
And I remember this young man, and he actually got tears in his eyes at one point, because it's about the future and it's about lost hopes, but also looking to the future and what they can possibly do. And he went, I didn't think that this could happen.
Definitely, this should be in like every school because it's a place where you can pray silently and peacefully and just be yourself, really.
They sort of made me feel like whole. They sort of filled in the gaps.
As soon as I went out, I don't know, it felt different. Like I just felt in that tent where I was alone, it felt like as if I was with God.
Absolutely go for it, and you would be blown away by what the children say and how much they gain from it.
Thank you, Tim, and Prayer Space and Schools for bringing us the voices of children and young people as well to our short stories. Beautiful. I hope they've been inspiring. What a wonderful collection of different activity that we're involved with. If you feel you're involved with some really exciting activity, which maybe you do it sometimes, maybe it doesn't feel so exciting on other days, but get in touch. You can be up here sharing your short story with us next year. Thank you to all those who contributed.